Okay, this is hi. My name is Wahid from Pakistan, and an English language teacher and arts teacher. And I here means to introduce you with the type of material that you will have to read in the reading part of the test. So let's see what type of material is it. And you see that in this test, that is reading test, you have three passages, and for every passage you have 20 minutes, and you will have to understand and answer the questions which are given at the end of each passage. Normally three passage, and they calculate the questions like 13, 13, and 14. Okay, here is my question 14 to 26. So reading passage 2, you should spend about 20 minutes on questions 14 to 26, which are based on reading passage 2 on page 21 and 22. Okay, this arrangement of questions and right. Here I must tell you that IELTS test is normally identified as um, IELTS International uh, English Language Testing System. So normally it is identified as this, but it is more than that. It's not if you don't qualify or you don't get good band in this test, it doesn't mean that your English is not good. Mostly engineers, doctors who have a wide study of reading books, and their English is good, and the many people they have international tours, visits, and everything, and they have to prepare for this. Without preparation, appearing in this test is not very wise, and it will not bring you very good bands as you have obtained according to your need. So, preparation of the test is really very important, and you should pay attention to this. So, to help you for this, and the time calculation is also very important. You have 20 minutes, and your reading should be between 10 to 12 minutes, not very quickly. You should not be very quick in reading, and you should not be very slow. Uh, that's both are very important. Okay, there are some other um, so strategies to how um, to tackle the situation and that appears in the test while doing your answering your questions. In this test, reading test and listening test, you don't have to write more than 3 words in any case anywhere. So this is one thing that you should keep in mind. And what type of informations are you see collected and how they are presented. For that, you need to make practice and you need to be accurate as much as possible. And you should not waste your time. Okay, let's go to now page 21 and 22, which is at the, here we are. So this passage is about, you can say, from the topic may not be of your interest, and if it doesn't interest you, you may not give a very good performance, fair performance, because everybody belongs to a certain type of environment, certain type of interest, has certain type of interest. So doctor may not like the books of engineering or physics. Normally, doctors don't like the books of physics, and similarly, um, engineers don't like the books of biology, and they are not interrelated. So, if the passages are taken from the books, may be different for every person who is attempting the question. So, similarly, and this is why being about is stimulating and useful too. This is a kind, seems to be a kind of psychological paragraph, passage, psychological passage. So, least interest of the many. Very few people take interest in psychology because in this world of reality or in this physical world, spirits or spirituality does not mean much, though it plays a very important role in everyone's life. So the most common of emotions is turning out to be more interesting than we thought. Okay, why being bored is stimulating and useful too. Most common of emotions is turning out to be more interesting than we thought. Okay, let's start reading. Here I will pay attention to when the sentences relates to present, past, and future. I'm very keen about it, and my understanding of present, past, and future is a bit different. Um, to me, present means is, am, are, has, have, s plus one can, and past means was, what, had, s plus two could, would, and future means will, shall. So I will keep an eye if it is present or past because I know history is in past, opinions and scientific work is in always in present tense. And in present tense, you may see will, shall, but in the past, will, shall, and is, am, are, has, have, s plus one, and can are missing. Right. We all know, so that means that this is present. We know it is S plus one. We know how it feels, so that it's opinion or mostly opinions. Or opinions are always in present tense. We all know it feels, how it feels. It is impossible to keep your mind on anything. So here in the introduction, maybe if it is not a research work or if it is there's no history involved, so most probably I will not see any words like was, were, had, s plus two, could, would. So my the target remains then to present and future. Is, am, are, has, have, s plus one, and can and will, shall. So this is how I feel easy and free and noticing all this. We all know how it feels. It's impossible to keep your mind on anything. Time stretches out and all the things that you could do seem equally unlikely to make you feel better. But refining boredom so that it can be studied in the lab has proved difficult. For a start, it can include a lot of other material states, such as frustration, apathy, depression, and indifference. There isn't even agreement over whether boredom is always low energy, that kind of emotion, or whether feeling agitated and restless counts as boredom too. In his book, Boredom, A Lively History, Peter Duhigg at the University of Calgary, Canada, compares it into disgust and emotion that motivates us to stay away from certain situations. If disgust protects the humans from infection, boredom may protect them from infectious social situations, he suggests. Well, this is, you see, past tense was not everywhere noticeable, and all it was is MR, has, have, s plus one, can, and will, shall. Okay, now we advance by asking people about this experience of boredom. Thomas Goetz and his team at the University of Constance in Germany. I have recently identified five distinct types: indifferent, calibrating, searching, reactant, and apathetic. These can be a plot. You see the vocabulary, okay? It's all hindrance, especially for those people who are not interested in literature and psychological type of work. So doctor may understand to this because it relates to some extent to them. So these can be plotted on two axes, one running left to right, which measures low to high arousal, and the other from top to bottom, which measures how positive or negative the feeling is. Intriguingly, Goetz has found that while people experience all kinds of boredom, they tend to specialize in one. Of the five types, the most damaging is reactant boredom, uh, with its explosive combination of high arousal and negative emotion. The most useful is what Goetz calls indifferent boredom. Someone isn't engaged in anything satisfying, but still feels relaxed and calm. However, it remains to be seen whether there are any character traits that predict the kind of boredom uh, each of us might be prone to. Okay, here I have noticed the word might. Okay, may suits better. Might is very much relating to past. Anyway, it is used in this way in English, and it has become the beauty of the language as well. Okay, would and might, as we have seen in this case, sometimes it happens that they appear in the present tense. I think they should not, but it is common. Psychologist Sandy Mann at the University of Central Lancashire, UK, goes further. All emotions are there for a reason, including boredom, she says. Man has found that being bored makes us more creative. We are all afraid of being bored, but in actual fact, it can lead to all kinds of amazing things. She says, in experiments published last year, man found this is past, okay. Man found that the people who had been made to feel bored by copying numbers out of the phone book for 15 minutes came up with more creative ideas about how to use a polystyrene cup than a control group. Mann concluded that a passive boring activity is best for creativity because it allows the mind to wander. In fact, she goes so far as to suggest that we should seek out more boredom in our lives. Here I see that past and the present are in one sentence. Normally, they don't appear like this, like one concluded, and then it gives an opinion. Opinion is always in present. Anyway, this is not the beauty of sentence, but it is calculated in this way. Okay, now we should go. Psychologist John Eastwood at York University in Toronto, Canada, isn't convinced if you are in a state of mind wandering, you are not in a state of mind wandering, you are not bored, he says. In my view, by definition, boredom is an undesirable state that does not necessarily mean that it isn't adaptive. He adds, pain is adaptive. If we didn't have physical pain, bad things would happen to us. Does that mean that we should actively cause pain? No, but even if boredom has evolved to help us survive, it can still be toxic. If allowed to fester, if allowed to fester, for Eastwood, and the central feature of problem is a failure to put our attention system into gear, and this causes an inability to focus on anything, which makes time seem to go painfully slowly. Once more, our efforts to improve the situation can end up making you feel worse. People try to connect with the world, and if they are not successful, there is that frustration and the irritability. He says, perhaps most worryingly, says Eastwood repeatedly, failing to engage attention can lead into a taste where we don't know what to do anymore and no longer care. Sometimes there are less of meaning and more of words, and in that case, it also becomes difficult to grasp the meaning in some writing. Okay, this is also a trick that is used, and we have to slow down. And sometimes there are more of ideas and less of words, more meanings, less words. Then we'll have to speed up our mind to catch as many ideas as possible. So now, Eastwood's team is now trying to explore why the attention system fails. It's a really days. It's early days, but I think that at least some of it comes down onto personality, boredom, um, proneness. Boredom proneness has been linked with a variety of traits. People who are motivated by pleasure seem to suffer particularly badly. Other personality traits, such as curiosity, are associated with a high boredom threshold. More evidence that boredom has a detrimental effects comes from studies of people who are more or less prone to boredom. It seems those who are bored easily face poorer prospects in education, their career, and even life in general. But of course, boredom itself cannot kill. It's the things that we do to deal with it and that may put us in danger. What can we do to alleviate it before it comes to that? Goats Group has one suggestion of working with teenagers. They found that those who approach a boring situation, in other words, see that it is boring and get stuck in any way, report less boredom than those who try to avoid it by using snacks, TV, or social media for distinction. In this paragraph, what I see that the topic is not very popular and the strange ideas are being discussed. So I am reading it, but with least interest. So naturally, that is the least that I will gather. But in this way, it's not only me, many people who do this, and they will have to train themselves that this type of uh, writings, this type of passages that you will have to read in the actual test, and the type of difficulty is there, and you need to prepare yourself next time when you read this type of paragraphs or passages that you will not find very agitated with it. So it's a part of training. You should read them and to grasp as much as is possible. And also there's technique in solving the questions as well, answering the questions as well. So I'm coming to the last paragraph, and this is psychologist Francois Wemmels. You see, strange names are also there to distract us. Wemmelsholder speculates that our over-connected lifestyles might even be a new source of boredom. In a modern human society, there is a lot of overstimulation, but still a lot of problems finding meaning, she says. So instead of seeking yet more mental stimulation, perhaps we should leave our phones alone and use boredom to motivate us to engage with the world in a more meaningful way. Okay, philosophy is also present. Almost everybody says that boredom is not a good thing, but it has been presented in a diverse order and with the ideas that boredom is good. Personally, I myself feel that boredom has very bad effects on our what is it, physical structures as well on our system of life. So this is one type of passage that you will have to read, and the level of difficulty in passages grows from passage 1 to passage 3. So this is the second average level passage, I should say. Thank you very much for being with me, and I hope that you got some idea that what type of reading that you are going to do. Only one thing is that all we need is to make practice for the test, and you should take help from the book. Answers are written there, and you should try to be accurate as much as is possible. Thank you very much. I wish you have a very nice and wonderful day. It was hope that you will join me. You will watch my other videos as well, and I will come up with another video with Pastor 3 if I don't find any technical issues here. Sometimes there's internet signal problem. Okay, thank you. I wish you a very wonderful day. Have a nice and pleasant, and I wish that your dreams should come true. Now I beg leave of you, saying goodbye and wishing you all the best.